Dr. Michal Maciejczak, head of Department Family Medicine in the Polish Mothers Hospital, joins me now on the program from Poland, where, of course, a lot of refugees have gone since this crisis started more than 22 days ago. Nice to have you on the program, Doc. Welcome.
Welcome, sir, and welcome all you viewers.
Let me ask you,
to be on the program.
We're moving away now from the battlefront itself, and we're taking a look at those who have gone into Poland, for example, as refugees and are trying to either find their way to their origin countries or are trying to just get by until this crisis gets over. What can you tell us about their state of health?
The situation at that point is that over 2 million people came to Poland as refugees. The country start to have problems with accepting more. We will do our best to accept everybody, but at that particular moment, we start to have some issues with health system, with accommodation for them. Most of those people stays at homes of Polish citizens. It's not like refugee camps or something like that. I have 2 or 3 people at my place at that time, and most of my friends have somebody as well. So from the point of view of housing, our capabilities are starting to block. From the point of view of health system, we are doing all that we can to support and to help the refugees. Most of them are children and women, and also very, very young children that need not only care that it's immediate, like injuries or sickness, but also vaccinations and that kind of stuff. It's under the Polish system is under big pressure now. Extra 2 million patients is a very big number for us, but we are trying to deal with that. Another problem is an issue with the language, because only part of the Ukrainians can speak English or Polish. Some of Polish doctors speak Russian as well, so the communication exists, but we are also fighting to find translators for the doctors. At that point, also there is an issue with vaccinations for COVID, because a major number of the refugees are not vaccinated, and daily rate of COVID in Poland is still over 10,000. For today is 11,500, I suppose. So the pandemic is still not gone. So we have two problems at the same time. But for now, we are trying to deal with all that. The issue is for the long term, because even if the war will stop within days or hours, the destruction and the humanitarian crisis in Ukraine is tremendous. Some we can see in the footage from Ukraine, but if you talk to people who actually escaped from there, it's much worse than we can see in TV. Some of the cities are completely ruined, nothing stands. So basically those people don't have a place to go back to, at least at that moment. So the situation is that we need to prepare for a much longer stay for the refugees, and probably for another wave, because from the night footage we see that the Russian army starts to attack western Ukraine, which was intact pretty much in past 23 days. And today Lvov was bombarded, and that will mean that all the people that actually escaped from eastern Ukraine to the western border, to the border with Poland, they will try and probably succeed in crossing the border to Poland, and we will have another group of refugees. Statistics count that probably we need to prepare for at least 4 million people. So we are halfway there, and from the point of view of healthcare, we have some issues and we will have some issues. The good part is that the government is doing everything to put Ukrainian doctors into the system as soon as possible, at least to help their own citizens. So,
Doctor, let me interrupt you and ask this though. Many of the 2 million people who have made it across to Poland, are you noticing that many of them are, apart from the fact that they are not vaccinated and they are adding to the COVID-19 burden that Poland is already carrying, are they coming across with injuries that need to be attended to? Or are they with ailments such as hypothermia and other such ailments that are caused by extremities of weather and exposure to the elements? Are you noticing any of that?
Definitely yes, but we are noticing a bit less of those problems because we are in center Poland, so they are getting to us through the different centers in the eastern border. So most of the people that need immediate help, it's getting it on the border or in Warsaw and cities closer to the border. So we are getting people who are exhausted, but most of them not injured because of war, and they are at least one day in Poland before they are getting to get help in my hospital. So not too many injuries, not too many hypothermic problems, but definitely there are that kind of problems. I've been to the border last week just to bring some of my friend family, and the situation there is very difficult, maybe not critical yet, but if we will get another wave of the same size, we definitely will be under tremendous pressure.
The other question, of course, then is that if, as we are seeing from the visuals on the screen there, just before they took it off, if the producers can bring that picture back, you see that there are a lot of people in that visual who are in shelters, who are in camps and all of that, in very close proximity, and that spoke to the issue of housing that you raised earlier on. How possible is it that so many people arriving within such a short period of time could be accommodating? The Poles have been very hospitable. The refugees have said so themselves, and you have confirmed that. But in terms of the pressure on the healthcare system, which was already dealing with COVID before their arrival, and you're saying we should prepare, or you need to prepare for 4 million. At the rate of the crossover, 2 million have already crossed over. So, and this is 3 weeks. In another 3 weeks, you will hit 4 million. And that, there's no indication that in 3 weeks this crisis will be over, is there?
There is absolutely no indication. The crisis won't be over for months. Because again, as I said, even if everything stops now, they don't have places to come back to. Okay, and Ukraine at that moment doesn't have either strength, either money to rebuild fast. So the pressure is, Poland is about 38 million people. And if we are getting 10% more within 6 weeks, it's impossible for any system to be fluent in that. We are doing all our best, and we have some experience from COVID situations that we can react in a similar way, let's say, that we will get longer shifts, a bit more doctors stays in hospitals, that kind of stuff. But that can be done for weeks, not months. Maybe month or two, but later on we need either to relocate some of those people, and some of that is happening because they do have families around Europe, so they are going out of Poland as well. But that's maybe 10, maybe 20% of the refugees. But at that particular moment, I think the amount of housing places is almost over. That's why you can start seeing that kind of footage as you are showing now. Because for first first 2 weeks, 90% of the refugees were actually coming to homes to people. even don't knowing them, and that's how it worked. That's why we don't have a humanitarian crisis in Poland now. But for another 2 million, we need to start finding places that normally are not used as staying places. That's what's happening. Some of the places that were used for COVID hospitals are transferred to housing places for Ukrainians as well. But that's a very temporary situation. It can people can stay at my home or another place for weeks, months. That's possible. But staying in a place that shows on the footage now for weeks or months is impossible. It's possible for days. And again, probably the government is doing everything they can to change the situation, but nobody can actually create 2 million places within weeks. So the good thing is that the winter is going out, so at least the temperatures will be over zero. So that answers a bit your question about hypothermia. But still, we need housing. We need to create again a system probably of healthcare for them, because that's again 10% of our population. So we need to prepare for that, and we are trying to do all our best to sustain that situation.
Dr. Maciejak, this is a difficult situation. We will be, of course, coming back to you in the days to come to cross-check to see how those numbers are rising and how Poland is coping. One would, of course, expect that the European Union and other such bodies would step in and assist Poland with resources to be able to cope with this, because Poland, of all the countries surrounding Ukraine, has received the most refugees within this period. But I want to thank you for your time this morning. It's not been a pleasure. It's been sad talking to you about this, but one hopes that things will get better. Thank you so much for your time this morning.
Thank you very much for the invitation, and definitely I can be here again. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We'll take a break, and when we come back, we will have the business side of things. What is happening to the ruble following yesterday's situation with Russia's debt. Please stay on this.